With the return of Ghostbusters again, with Sony insisting that this is a big property that everybody needs to pay attention to.
I think it is, and I will, and I love it.
Great. Please leave a like on this video because we're going to be ranking 80s franchises.
Are we ranking them or are we doing a tier list?
We're tier listing them, Mason.
Okay.
Franchises that just keep going.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. There's some ones on here where you go, oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think we should rank them based on that, the overall quality of output.
Okay, sure.
Which is unfair for some because some have a smaller quality, but the quality is stronger. Whereas some, it's just slop again and again.
Constant slop. But it's colourful slop, and we like that.
Different lasers. Also, we're steering away from horror because I haven't seen all of the Freddy nightmares, etc.
Because you're afraid.
He comes into my dreams.
Boo!
Stop it. Yeah. All right, do you want to kick it off with this?
No.
Well, we are. Terminator franchise.
Okay.
How a lot of these started. Just a low budget, good idea executed perfectly.
Well, we're not doing that these days, are we? You know what we're doing? Terminator reboots.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what we're doing. If we were judging this on series that should have died a bunch of times, this would be an S tier.
Oh
obviously.
my God, you're not wrong. But you got to look at the strength of this.
That's right.
Terminator 1, Terminator 2. Some people don't mind Terminator 3 or even some of the other sequels.
I mind them quite a bit, but I quite like Terminator Dark Fate.
I didn't mind it either. I think I would have liked it more if there wasn't a million in between. I think the strongest sequel is easily after the first two, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's really terrific. The strength of this initially.
Yeah, I mean, that would put it in an S tier.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, people would argue that some of those sequels are pretty good, and I would argue
Or have good moments, like
Sure.
the end of Terminator 3. Like that bit where John Connor was shot to death in Dark Fate. People love that.
Or the start of Terminator 3, where the Terminator's boobs get really big.
Oh, yeah. People loved that, didn't
People
they?
love that.
I think it's S just because of
Yeah,
the first two.
I think so too.
I don't
yeah.
think those other movies have diminished
No.
those first two.
Yeah.
Let's do Gremlins.
Okay.
So there's Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2. There's talk of a new movie. There's
Okay.
also an animated series, which is quite good.
Well, talk's cheap, isn't it?
I like how Gremlins 2 is just a straight parody of Gremlins.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
I think it wasn't appreciated or understood at the time. People were like, this is dumb. Don't they realize how silly Gremlins are? Yeah, they're saying that in the movie. You're not paying attention.
Wow.
I think it's an A. And there's only 2
Yeah.
plus the show. What do you think?
I reckon it's a B, just because I think it's interesting that it turns to parody by the second movie. That's interesting. I don't think it's an A because it has died. That's why.
Okay.
There's talk of a a sequel. Well, I haven't seen it.
Again, animated series, but all right.
Until I see one series on streaming that immediately gets cancelled, doesn't count.
Fair enough. Well, Mason, let's talk about Ghostbusters.
Love Ghostbusters.
Why, though? How much good Ghostbusters is
Because
there?
of Ghostbusters 1. That's why I love it. And I like Ghostbusters Afterlife a bunch.
D. Wow. The first one's good.
Okay, sure.
Look, maybe it's just the fans,
Okay.
all men my age and above, screaming at me that I don't like Ghostbusters as much as
okay.
them and I don't understand Ghostbusters.
That's true. But that screaming has worked, hasn't it? Because it's still going.
It's
It's
true.
still going. It got in the Reitman's heads, and now that's all they can think about.
They're insisting that it's this ongoing kind of like epic sprawling saga and not just 4 rat catchers.
Well, it's true. But I mean, as we just mentioned, Gremlins started out,
But Gremlins stopped.
No, that's true, but I'm saying Gremlins started out quite sincere and then it went funny. There's no law against something changing genre from comedy to like, oh, this is so reverent.
To just saccharine fucking shots of proton packs or whatever. Fine.
There'd be a joke.
C?
C is fine. I'm happy with C.
Really? Because
Yeah.
you like Ghostbusters a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I talked you down.
But
I think it's a B. I was joking.
No, but I'll say, but I also like upsetting people. So
What about Indiana Jones? I mean, those first 3, my goodness.
sure.
And then people like the start of that 5th one. I don't. I hate looking at that. But other people like it. Where's this?
You're very sensitive to the uncanny valley, I think.
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
It's probably the best it's been done.
Sure. Mhm.
They spent so much money to make something that upsets me specifically. It's an A at least.
Yeah, I mean, based on the strength of the first 3,
What about Young Indiana Jones Chronicles?
doesn't count.
It's
edutainment.
It's
it
canon.
doesn't count.
It's canon though.
Okay, but it's edutainment, and that brings everything down a notch, I think.
All right.
Because I don't want to learn.
But what about if you look at it this way? There's 3 Indiana Jones films.
I'm listening.
That are great.
Sure.
There's a little bit of expanded media, etc. And then there's 2 movies that aren't great. Terminator only had 2 really great movies and then a bunch of whatever. But it's below Terminator. Is that what we're saying? I would probably watch Terminator 1 or 2 over any of the Indiana Jones movies.
Well, that's a big call because you love Indiana Jones movies.
I like him a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just a genre thing. I would prefer. I like a fun sci-fi maybe more than I like a two-fisted adventure story.
We just got Indiana Jones. I'm just exhausted by it. I think. Maybe
Sure.
that's
Okay.
it,
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe that's it. But I mean, that's enough.
Yep.
This is completely unscientific. So yeah, let's put it below the Terminator series.
All right, here we go. This is a good one. Willow. So there's the movie Willow.
I don't care about
And then
Willow.
there was the Disney.
I don't care about Willow.
There's the Disney streaming series
Cancelled.
Willow that they cancelled and deleted.
Cancel and deleted. So points for that. That's fun.
I'm not a Willow fan. I never have been. I rewatched the movie kind of going into this show. So I'm
Sure.
like, oh, yeah, I'll check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
I would love to.
surprised by it.
I would love to be able to try Willow.
Yeah.
The series, but I can't now. It's too late.
Yeah.
Look, and where are you thinking of putting this?
I mean, it's a D or an E, but that's my personal.
Okay, but I think we should bump it to a C because it gave Disney a big tax break somehow.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Due to some sort of creative accounting loophole.
Same as Ghostbusters then.
Yep, sure.
Willow is as good as Ghostbusters.
Sure, close, great, works for me.
Great, love it. What about this Beverly Hills Cop? He's a bit
What
of a-
about this Beverly Hills Cop?
You been reading about this?
He's a real fish out of water, that fellow, I think.
Yeah, man. So-
Because normally he's from New York,
Yes, of Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
And things work a little different in Beverly Hills. They're a
Yeah.
bit hoity-toity. It's a little Holly weird, isn't it?
So there's 3,
Sure.
and then there was a pause, and then there was a sequel series that they shot a pilot for and never showed anybody because it was dreadful.
Great.
And now we're getting 4.
Was the series going to be that Axel Foley was the police chief or
Yes.
something? Okay, sure.
Because you know he's going to turn up and he's got the same jacket. He's just like, bam, bam,
Bam,
bam,
bam,
bam.
bam,
I've never
bam.
changed at all. I'm the same guy, bam, bam.
I think you got to give it points for cancelled pilot because it was so bad.
Also, Eddie Murphy's really fun in those.
That's true. If we can also include Dolomite Is My Name, which is unrelated, but I think that's a
Good movie.
it's a good movie. Yeah.
B, C.
Higher than Ghostbusters and Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks.
God, this ranking's so good.
Looking at this, this is wrong.
Oh,
This is all wrong.
It's so wrong. Most of the Beverly Hills Cop movies aren't any good. Three's dreadful.
Yeah, that's the one I've seen the most.
What's wrong with
We
you?
had on VHS.
Oh my
It was
god.
the 90s. What about Conan? First Conan, we got Red Sonja and second Conan.
And then Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
There was an animated series where his family weren't murdered, they were turned to stone.
Conan O'Brien's family was murdered and
Yeah,
turned to
man,
stone?
yeah, no good.
Wow.
There was also Cull the Conqueror with Kevin Sorbo was supposed to be a Conan movie.
that's
and isn't
right.
it set in the same...
Yeah, there's some ongoing trademark copyright issue with Cull and Conan. Yeah. And then he got the Tonight Show briefly, but
Yep.
then Leno demanded that his show was ahead of the whole late night wars. That was a bit, that's a bit of real life drama, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then Conan just got Conan on TBS.
Yep.
And now he just does a podcast, which
It's a
is very
great
good. It's a
podcast.
great podcast, very funny.
Oh, and Jason Momoa played him in a reboot.
Yeah, that's true.
There's going to be a sequel. They've been talking about like King Conan, like his last thing, and they were going to get Schwarzenegger back. That might still happen. Conan's a... God. D?
It's a D. I mean, as good as his podcast is.
Yeah. What about this? Top Gun. You wouldn't call this a franchise normally, but they made a second one.
I mean, this is a movie and a legacy sequel.
Yeah. I think the first Top Gun is just not great,
Whoa.
but the second one is amazing.
I agree.
So, what does that mean?
I don't know, man.
At least an A?
Yeah.
Also, I appreciate the restraint.
I don't recall any restraint, but go ahead.
No, I just mean in this property. They could have
they
made
could've-
100 of these.
They could have made 100 direct-to-video sequels, couldn't they? Yeah. With people that look kind of like Tom Cruise, but not really?
Yep. I'm going to say A because there's not enough of it.
Sure.
And the first one isn't great, but that second movie, my goodness.
You got to give him an A alone for a man who passes the torch to the next generation, but also himself.
Completely agree. Blade Runner. So we got original Blade Runner.
He's one of those legacy sequels you love so much.
That's right. We got Blade Runner 2049, which I think is superior even.
Uh-huh.
But then we have the movie Soldier in the 90s, starring Kurt
Sure.
Russell, which is in the Blade Runner universe.
Uh-huh.
Look, I've never seen Soldier, but I feel like that might bring down things slightly. We're
Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah, I know. But also there's a video game,
I was
a full
gonna
motion
say, yeah.
video game, and they're doing a new series, Blade Runner 2099.
And there was a series of tie-in novels.
That's true.
Yeah.
And also there was some shorts before Blade Runner 2049. that
And
they
there's the
released.
novel The Blade Runner, which
Yeah.
is where Blade Runner got the name, but has no other elements
Oh,
in the movie.
wow. Is Blade Runner an S?
Yes.
High concept sci-fi.
Kicked off the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah.
Then they didn't do a bunch with it. They didn't do a bunch of direct-to-video sequels.
Yet. Also, they've never made money at cinemas.
And they remain around.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I love that. Mm-hmm. What about Back to the Future? There was the 3.
Uh-huh.
It's a great trilogy.
Yeah.
The strongest one is definitely the first, IMO.
There was a comic book.
There was a comic book. There was an animated series. There was a video game.
What?
You know, like a Telltale one.
Oh.
Which was quite fun. And also Robert Zemeckis is like, I will never let anybody make another one of these.
I think that's why it's an A.
Yeah.
Or an S?
Yeah, well...
I don't know. Is it worth more that there won't be any bad quality sequels churned out?
Yeah.
Let's make it an S.
All right, let's
Throw
do
in
it.
there. I mean,
All right,
and also that first movie, and some would say the second movie, that's a perfect...
I agree.
That's a perfect fun family movie for all ages except for some of the assaulting.
There's some weird stuff in that movie.
Sure is. Yep.
Couldn't make it these days.
Couldn't know. They made
They'd
it already.
never let you make a movie where you go back in time and kiss your mum. Thanks, woke Hollywood.
That's right.
Lethal Weapon, they're all the same, I feel like. After the second one, really, they just kind of hit on that formula. They are making another one. Mel Gibson's going to direct it. Richard Donner was going to come back, but then he was 900 years old and died.
Sure,
But he was committed to making another Lethal Weapon.
And there's a TV series.
Oh, yeah. Where they swapped out the main guy?
Yeah, because he was problematic or something.
Something happened?
Yeah.
Well, those are a bit problematic, those movies, you know?
Yeah, that's
Some of the
right.
themes you could never get away with,
You couldn't blow up a man on a toilet these days.
No. Remember when they fought Jet Li in a junkyard or whatever?
Yes, of course I do.
That's pretty cool. I think it's a D or a C. They're fine. I remember rewatching them and being like, am I watching the same movie again and again?
Then it's
The only reason I can tell that it's not is because Mel Gibson's mullet keeps changing.
Yeah, I think it's a D maybe.
All right. Transformers?
Sure.
Started in the 80s, cartoon, then et cetera, whatever. Live action movies, still happening.
Yeah,
I mean, they're so dreadful, a lot of those movies.
A lot of those movies are bad, aren't they?
Yeah.
As a lifelong fan of Transformers, a lot of the old media is dreadful as well.
Oh, come on, Mason. You're going to anger men your age and older.
I'm going to. Wise up to yourselves. But those toys, man.
Those toys.
To me, it's the toys. Transformers is the toys, not the media. And the toys were incredible. And they remain incredible. They're better now than they were when we were kids.
Completely agree, because they work.
Yeah. A.
All right.
That's right. Better than Ghostbusters.
Whoa, most things are. Rambo. He is a Vietnam vet. He was just having a bad time of it. He just wanted a place to walk on through.
Yeah.
He didn't want no trouble.
That's right.
But they brought trouble to him. He had a big fight with all the police. And then he had like a mental breakdown, and it was quite moving. And it really said something about the state that the US government would treat their returned soldiers.
That's right.
After Vietnam. And you also see, the reflection of that today in like a lot of homeless people, mental health, all of these things, people with like crippling anxiety or ongoing physical or mental health issues. And then they just went, but what if Rambo went back and did Vietnam again?
What if he won Vietnam for us?
And what if he started the Taliban maybe? In Rambo 3 or whatever he did.
That's exactly right. And then what if he went to Burma and machine gunned all those guys at the end? It was really quite hectic. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And what if that time he was just in another movie? They just got a movie about like human trafficking in Mexico or something, and his name was like Joe Redneck, and they just put Rambo there. They just did find
no mullet or anything.
Yeah.
And he was just running in and out of caves that he dug under his property.
Yeah, it was Home Alone, but with murder.
Yeah,
I mean, more murder.
Stallone
alone.
I like 4 and 1 the most.
Okay.
It's funny the way that it completely missed the point.
Boy, did it ever, yeah.
People might know this, but at the end of the book Rambo, he like kills himself. It's like it's a tragedy, you know? And that is not reflected in the journey of Rambo in the movies.
That's right. At the start of Rambo 2, they find a crystal that brings him back to life.
That's right.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah, it's no Rocky franchise.
No,
of the
it's
Stallone
not.
franchises.
I think its direction is just kind of like they lost their way and they never kind of found their way back.
Yeah, it feels like a bunch of course correcting. Like, what do we want this guy to represent?
Machine gunning people.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's not always. Sometimes knifing people in the neck or whatever.
He will knife someone, won't
just
he?
Bowie knifing a guy's head off. Doesn't he cut a guy's head off?
He does, yeah.
In 4? Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. What about G.I. Joe? Also animated movie.
Yeah,
Various other whatevers.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the live-action movies, including the movie Snake Eyes, which we're going to be talking about next week. I'm not a huge fan. It's more of a toys thing, though. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, it's more of a toys thing, but I think the toys generally... I mean, if we're comparing it to Transformers, generally less impressive.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the idea of it and all the different vehicles. And this guy's from this place and's got this mask. And this guy has a bazooka. Bazooka man. And here's a jet he can go in. Or whatever. D.
Yeah. And also
make better movies.
Sure. And I mean, I think it's probably a indication of kind of the death of the franchise that the last appearance we had of G.I. Joe in media was Transformers Rise of the Beast.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Where
I've
it's just
completely
like,
forgot.
hey, guess what? G.I. Joe's back. And we're showing that by an empty warehouse.
Yeah.
Here it is. What do you think of this? What is it? We don't know yet.
God.
We don't know.
You tell us.
Yeah. Army men, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they'll have different coloured camo on.
Maybe.
Well, one guy's got a Hawaiian shirt because he's a rebel. I don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't cast anybody. We haven't thought of any ideas. So here's a warehouse and a card that says G.I. Joe.
We got a couple left. Die Hard. I think the trilogy. Two's not great. 1 and 3.
2 is good.
It's all right.
All right.
1 and 3, spectacular.
Sure.
I would even say 4 is pretty good. I mean, he doesn't have the hair.
The widow's peak that really marks him as just like an exhausted guy out of his depth. I think without that, when he just looks like regular Bruce Willis, big time tough guy Bruce Willis, it's not as much fun.
There's still some good stuff in 4.
Sure.
Where he shoots Timothy Olyphant through himself.
Sure.
That's great.
Yep.
Oh, you killed a car with a helicopter or whatever. A helicopter with a car. 5 is woeful. But I think the first 4 are pretty, I mean, especially 1 and 3 are really pretty strong.
Plus you have Die Hard Arcade.
Oh my God.
Remember that game? And there's the Nintendo Entertainment System game where you have different health meters for your body and your feet.
Yeah, man.
Pretty cool.
That is cool. Is Die Hard an A?
I think it's an A.
Because of
the first Die Hard.
And
yes.
3. I think 3 might be as good as the first one.
And this is the movie that launched 1,000 ships. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the everyman. I mean,
He's not a big muscular.
He's not Stallone. He's not Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And it, as I understand it, it launched like there were a million attempts in Hollywood to do. It's Die Hard, but it's on a ship. It's Die
They're
Hard,
still
but it's on a
doing it.
plane, etc. Until legend has it. One day somebody pitched it. Die Hard, but in an office building.
Anyway, I think that A is a good spot. Now, what about RoboCop? We talked about these not that long ago. There's first 3 RoboCops. Then there's RoboCop Reboot. And of course, recently we had RoboCop video game.
That's right.
Where Peter Weller returns. And he's turned up in whatever else. TV shows, Mortal Kombat, etc. Is RoboCop an A?
What TV shows are you talking about?
The 2 RoboCop TV shows.
I thought
they
you
made.
just meant guest appearances on like.
Yeah, I think he did like
Family Matters
He
and
did like
stuff.
a KFC commercial in Japan and whatever.
Hey, this is my new partner.
RoboCop is an A.
Yeah. A lot of these, I mean,
After 1,
Yeah,
if you were like, show me the RoboCop franchise and it started at 2, I like 2.
I'm reaching the slow realization that a lot of these we're ranking quite highly because of the first one, which would suggest that as a franchise, a lot of these are very bad and should probably be Fs because a lot of these are just, the first one was really good and then diminishing returns.
Should we have ranked them excluding the first one?
Let's shift everything down 3. And if we have to add more tiers, that's fine. Everything's going down 3. Sorry.
Okay, so RoboCop's an A, which would make it a C or a D.
A D.
Great. All right, everybody. Is there any that you disagree with? No doubt, because this is a mess, isn't it?
Honestly, I'm starting to disagree with some of the things I've said already.
But yeah, if you've got any ideas for what you want us to rank, we got a whole lot of these. But also, we have a service called Big Sandwich, which is at bigsandwich.co, where there's bonus podcasts, where there's movie commentaries. We also do video game Let's Plays.
That's right.
If you do want to check it out, head on over. Because also we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out there on Sunday as opposed to Monday where it's on like Spotify, YouTube, Apple, etc. All right, thanks everyone.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.